The recent patch notes for Lilith's newest update just came out, and this gives us a bunch of insights into the new Greek civilization, into a completely new KVK that they're working on, into the new armaments, and a bunch of optimizations to pretty much everything in the game. It is a really, really insightful update look of what's going to come within the next 7 or so days, since this update will be releasing on July 11th, as Lilith said in their most recent ad. So this is an amazing update, and today I'll be reading through everything and explaining it all so that it's extremely simple to understand and you don't have to go through and dig around and try and figure out what everything means, because I've already done all the research for you. If you're interested in the new update, you definitely have to hear all about it. So let's begin off. The new civilization, Greece. So basically they talk a little bit about it, but here's what's going to happen. After the update, you can change your civilization to Greece and experience its new features. Building architecture and special units will all be in the game after the update. So the Greek civilization is coming July 11th. A Greek-style animated screen will also be released together with the update. You can switch to the new loading screen via the settings page at any time. I didn't know you could do that. I guess you can. Then there will also be a few events. The Payan, I'm going to butcher all these, sorry, of Olympias. Complete 7 days of quests for great rewards. Probably just log in for 7 days. Here's maybe a few gold heads. And then the Hellenic Epic, I butchered that as well. You chisel out and paint an epic tale, so that's probably going to give you, it's probably like the story mode missions where you listen to a story, you get some event rewards. And then something blooms, you enjoy a something beauty and redeemed limited time rewards, so possibly some avatar frames, that's what I predict would be there. Protect the supplies, that's standard, you just walk around, you escort a caravan, and the more points that you earn, the higher rank you are. I'm pretty sure this is going to be the individual one, not the alliance-wide one. Then Soroli Assault, this basically is you get a certain amount of items which you can use, which refresh every couple of hours, and you can just fight a Soroli, one of the Soroli champions. I'm pretty sure it's usually Kira, but it has been in the past some of the other Soroli champions. I'm pretty sure Dakar was one of them at one point, or Wolfora. So Soroli Assault pretty much is just you have to fight one of these people, and you have to do it pretty much 3 times a day to get the maximum amount of rewards. It's actually pretty good rewards. You can get gems, materials, pretty good stuff from those events. So I don't mind Soroli Assault. I think it is pretty good. And then sign in spoil. Sign in for 7 days. Claim some sculptures of the new Greek commanders, which is really, really good. We know who the new Greek commanders are, and I'll talk about that in a minute. Then Tempest Clash. We know what Tempest Clash is. It's basically just that boat event. You get the boats, smash the boats together. And then Alliance Quiz. Participate in a quiz with your allies. We've done that before. You can earn up to 2 gold heads per day, which is really, really good. I actually like that a lot. And then Music and Muses. This is show the community your creativity. I'm not sure what that's going to be. Maybe they have some way to play music, or you play music and send it in with your governor ID to earn rewards. That's possibly something you could do. Then the Treasure of Pyrophus. I butchered that as well, sorry. Collect Pyrophic starters and claim Pyrophus sculptures. So he's going to be the legendary commander, and I'll talk about him in a minute. And then also you can see the event calendar for a detailed schedule. Some events will only be available in regions where all kingdoms have existed for at least 21 days. So that's standard. We know that's always been a thing. If your kingdom is too young, often some of these events will not show up, such as I'm pretty sure Tempest Clash and some of the more Season of Conquest based events do not show up. Next, you can acquire the new epic commander, Pericles. So he is one of the most important politicians, I think, in Greek history. And legendary commander, Pyrophus. Sorry, I'm butchering it. Someone please let me know how to say that in the comments. In the new Greece event series. So we know that we can get the legendary commander sculptures from an event where you collect his status. I'm not sure what that means, but it's something we get to do. It's probably just to kill a amount of barbarians, do some basic stuff like that, and earn his sculptures. That is going to be good. We do get access to him. Obviously, he will be added to the gold chest and expedition shop soon. It also says here Pericles can be acquired through silver chest, golden chest, and the expedition shop. Plus, he's probably going to be the civilization commander, so when you use Greece for the first time, you will get access to Pericles. Then Pyrophus, sorry I butchered it once again. He can be acquired through Golden Chest, Expedition Shop, Daily Special Offer, Card King. So I haven't seen Card King in a while. I guess it's only on Young Kingdoms. Daily Special Offer and Card King will be available starting on the 43rd day of your kingdom's preparation season. His Museum Relic will also be available after a certain time. So we will see his Museum Relic. It could be really good. It could be really bad. If he's an infantry commander, I think he needs a good relic, since infantry don't really have an amazing Museum Relic, and I think that this could be a good way of giving them one. Next, there's going to be a new Season of Conquest story. It's going to be the Storm of Stratagems, a pioneer event is coming soon. Step foot onto a distant continent where rising plumes of smoke herald a battle to come. We've worked tirelessly to expand our territory, but in doing so, we have planted the seeds of war deep in this land. Amidst the storm of conflict and calcumny, I think I butchered that as well, we have learned to be flexible in our tactics, making new allies and repel our enemies. On this new battlefield, who will emerge as the victor? Team system. So there's going to be a team system one. You're going to be forced into teams, much like the camp system, I presume. All registered kingdoms will be divided into an S, A, B, C, or D category, basically like your seed, based on their kingdom power. Kingdoms can form team based on their classes, so I'm not sure what that means. Possibly based on the letter that they've been given. That is certainly possible. And then after the teams have been formed, so you probably have to write these teams down. 6 teams with similar power will be matched into the same lost kingdom. Ah, okay. So if you formed a team with an S and an A class, then 6 teams with the same power will be matched in. So possibly how KVK 3 works, where you choose whichever kingdoms you're going to ally with, and then you get put in a KVK. That is very interesting, and that will definitely help with power issues in KVKs, where there's a Imperium kingdom and then a bunch of weaker kingdoms. That definitely could be a very, very good way of that working. Next up, there will be a stratagem system. In this story, you can equip a variety of stratagems which provide permanent buffs for you and your troops. You can select a number of different stratagem folios, each of which have a different combination of stratagem slots. Stratagems must be equipped in a slot that matches their type. This just sounds like armaments to me, except you don't have the formation, you just pick the folio. Probably this is going to be similar to armaments is what I'm getting from here, except it's hopefully a little bit more free to play, and I'm hoping it's more like the relics. You see, in this KVK, we had relics, and the way that this works, artifacts, is you can claim whichever artifact you want for 50,000 crystals. It's super cheap, and they're pretty good, actually. So hopefully that's how these stratagems work. You can just purchase them for a fairly cheap price, or they are extremely free to play to access. I think that would make the KVK way better, especially compared to the New Orleans KVK, where basically it's just a whale fest of who has the most commanders at a high skill level. So hopefully that does help with that whale aspect and makes it a little bit different. Next, counter rallies. Whenever your coalition is targeted by an enemy rally army, you can launch a counter rally against a rallied army. I think that's normal, isn't it? Counter rallied armies will immediately set out once it has reached its troop capacity. Ah, okay. So before, when you counter rally, there is still the timer of 3 minutes. But now if you counter rally, it's kind of, counteracting having to swarm constantly. Your rally will instantly leave once it reaches full capacity. That's really good, actually. That's a great way to really make open field more than just a swarm fest. You actually have to counter rally now. That is really, really good that it can leave your city as soon as it happens. It is going to be a little bit weird, though, with counter rallying, counter rallies, and then counter rallying the counter rally, because that's going to be so much easier to do now. So definitely going to be a little bit strange with how many counter rallies will be going, but I think it's a little bit better having rallies rather than swarming down garrisons and flags, because that's really leaving out a lot of players, because most players can't swarm down flags, but you can certainly fill a counter rally or help reinforce a counter rally by helping your team with field presence. So I actually really like this idea as well. Then there will be Alliance Arrow Towers. In this story, you'll be able to turn your Alliance flags into an Alliance Arrow Tower. We've seen this before, I think, in the Heroic Anthem when they redid it. This Alliance Arrow Tower will automatically attack non-allied cities within range, reducing their war durability. They will not inflict any casualties on the troops garrisoned in the city. So basically what's going to happen is if you made an Alliance Tower, so for example, if this was LA territory right here, and let's pretend this was a flag, and then up here, this was a different enemy alliance's territory, and there were a bunch of cities here, and we had this as an alliance tower, what would happen is it would burn any enemy cities within the range, and that means any enemy cities within this range would get automatically teleported out. I feel like it's more than a nuisance, it's not achieving too much, but it does kind of help you reinforce your territory. If you can build an alliance tower and the enemies can't stop you, then you're going to be able to kick them off their territory. So definitely very interesting there, and it kind of helps with stalemates, especially in usually smaller KVKs where people aren't as wily and they're not swarming flags. You will have an alliance tower that's going to pretty much kick them off their territory if they don't push against you. So definitely will help with flag stalemates or stalemates that last 3 hours on end in the same position and nothing happens. If you build an alliance tower, you'll easily be able to push them back. So I think that they do provide an interesting aspect in that regard. So that's all we know on the new KVK. I think it sounds extremely interesting. Definitely is something I'd be interested in doing, actually. Compared to Orleans, this is a KVK I'd be much more excited for. Not sure what this distant continent would be. Possibly we're in a completely different continent. Maybe somewhere like Asia-ish. We haven't really been to Asia, I don't think. We've been to Europe now with the Orleans KVK. It could be somewhere in South America, North America, maybe somewhere in Africa. We don't actually know yet. So we'll have to see where this distant continent is, and I think it'll be very interesting depending on where the actual KVK is located. As for these systems and stuff they're providing, definitely very cool, and I think that they are an extremely fun system. I do presume there will still be crystal tech, though they didn't want to mention that here because that always puts a downer on most things when they say crystal tech. Next up, we got the armament system optimization. So this looks like the new transmutation. Well, the first thing they say is the new armament transmutation function. You can now transmute, which basically means reroll or change the stats of inscribed legendary armaments to randomize their attributes. When randomizing or transmuting an armament, you can choose to lock one or two of its attributes. Locked attributes will never be randomized, and after transmuting, you may choose to revert back to the old attributes or keep the new ones. So that is really good. Like I said in my other video, you basically get the freedom and it's less of an RNG based thing. Transmutation requires transmutation stones. The number of attributes you've locked will affect the number of transmutation stones you can acquire. Transmutation stones are acquired through armament shops and events. They said that last time, we still don't know what events that could be. Possibly the In Search of Wonders event, like I've mentioned before. Or also in my city, the armament shop. It's a thing I've been kind of saving my coins for. Usually I would buy these, but I am waiting to see what happens with this transmutation and which armaments I can reroll and how expensive it's going to be. I'm presuming it's going to cost gold coins to buy these transmutation stones. If I had to guess, it'd be 10 gold coins each if they want to make it somewhat free-to-play friendly. And then same as before, each armament can only be transmuted up to 10 times. Then they have how to get new armaments, so possibly they're adding more armaments. I don't think that's what this means. I think they're just saying there's more ways to get armaments now. Now, Lucerne Scrolls for Kingdoms in Season 2 to Season of Conquest, Formation Choice Chests, and Random Armament Chests will be added to the rewards for the Lucerne Scrolls event, available after the update. So that could give Lucerne Scrolls a little bit more value. I know that it's still a fairly good thing to purchase, but in comparison to some other things, it is lacking a bit on value, especially the blueprints at the end. They are very lackluster. Like, no one really cares about the gathering, and the crystal key blueprints are very useless since you can get them literally for free from crystal keys. So this is definitely one of the things that I say isn't as amazing value as some other events, but adding some armaments in there could give it a little bit more value. Even adding some of those transmutation stones could be really good for giving this a lot more value for even lower spenders or medium spenders. Silk Road. Okay, so Silk Road is going to be a little bit more interesting now. For Kingdoms in Season 2 to Season of Conquest, random armament chests will be added to the rewards of the Silk Road event after the update. So we know Silk Road is usually just take your commanders there, escort some, I think it's like a carriage to the end, get a gold head or two. That's a really good event already. You don't have to do much. You get 3 free gold heads. But it looks like after this update, they're going to chuck in a few armament chests, which is pretty cool. Civilization event series for Kingdoms in Season 2 to Season of Conquest, random armament chests will be added to the rewards of this event after the update. So the Civilization random events are usually the event that comes around. So for example, for the French event, you get teacups, I think it is, and you can purchase items. Usually it's not that amazing, the event. It's pretty decent value, but it's just do basic things, get basic items. So this will definitely give it a little bit more of an interesting twist. Then in Lost Kingdom from Season 2 to Season of Conquest, Formation Choice Chests will be added to the rewards. So that means we'll get some choice chests, which is really nice. They're not random armament chests. We haven't seen random armament chests yet, but formation choice chests are pretty good. Those are the ones we get to choose whichever formation you want. It's not just a random armament. Seems like all the other ones here will be just random armaments, except Lucerne Scrolls has some choice chests. So it's very, very random at that point. It's basically like just doing a free travel or doing a dispatch. Then the new armament loadout feature, you can save your armament setup for a commander as a loadout, allowing you to quick load different armament setups. Really good if you're switching between garrisons or you're doing a lot of different primary commanders. That's a pretty nice thing. I know I'm going to use it a little bit. Then they've improved the Siege of Orleans KVK. They rebalanced the difficulty of the last Siege of Orleans campaign. Possibly that means the structures will be more difficult or easier. The Warriors Unbound story optimization, artifact adjustment, artifact effects now apply to museum relic bonuses, so that's good. In addition to skills. So if a commander is a secondary commander equipped with an artifact, and all skills and museum relic bonuses that they have applied to that commander will be applied to the new unit type based on the artifact. They adjusted the duration of some of the Lost Kingdom Chronicles. That's interesting. They probably made it longer or shorter, not sure. They reduced the number of level 7 passes from 6 to 3. They expanded the area of Kingsland. And after the update, the artifact adjustments will affect in all stories instantly. So that's interesting. While the rest of the optimizations will take stories that are currently open for registration. So we won't be seeing the less level 7 passes in my KVK, but we'll see it in all the new registration KVKs though. Then we got some alliance mobilization optimizations. registration rules adjustment. After the updates, all alliances that have registered for alliance mobilization can modify their list of participating members at any time during their registration phase. Quest attempt rules and adjustments for quests that are completed but not turned in with the time limit. You'll be refunded your quest attempt. I don't know why they just let you turn it in. I don't want to log in when I send my gatherers out in the middle of the night and I wake up at like 7 in the morning. Dumb. It still really angers me. But for the most part, I guess that at least now you get your quest chance back if you don't turn it in. Don't know why they don't just automatically turn it in. Next, the quest content adjustments. Now quests will be unlocked as you reach higher leagues. New quests will earn different points and rewards. So there was no rewards for the quest to begin with, but now we will get more points from each quest. Quality of life adjustments. After accepting quests, you'll be automatically directed to the quest when you visit the event page. That's okay. They added the ability to preview the high rewards of the higher leagues. That's something I recommended. They added the ability to preview league promotions and demotions on the competition leaderboard. I think they already mentioned that. And then some PC stuff with how to optimize some keys and stuff. And then other adjustments. They adjusted how the Arc of Osiris battlefield skills take effect to prevent overlap between the same skill effects. Interesting. And then they changed up the chat system a bit, which I personally use quite a bit. They added the ability to recall sent messages. You can now unsend messages you sent by mistake. Hopefully that doesn't lead to blackmailing people and saying something and then you delete the message and makes them look bad. Hopefully that doesn't happen. I hope it also does say like deleted or leaves their face there and says deleted next to the message. That's something I'd hope for. They also add the ability to edit recently sent messages. So now whenever I make 1,000 typos, I can change it up, including ones with emojis. They added the ability to quote messages. So if someone wrote something, I guess you can quote it. And you can also reply directly to another governor's message, something I've always wanted, similar to Discord actually. They also optimized the layout of some pages, so that could be extremely interesting. Then some troop dispatch optimizations added a hold position after attack option to the setting page. That's really good. That means that now when someone dies, you don't see half of the murderable for your team walking back towards their city. You now stand still. That's extremely good. That's actually really, really good. That's something I've always disliked, and I think that's a very, very good thing to add. So now whenever you defeat an enemy troop, you will not automatically return to your city. You will leave your troops on the map. When you dispatch a troop to an alliance building, alliance fortress, or any other building, you can toggle an option to garrison the troop in the building after the construction is completed. That means from now on, if there is any flags that are going on and you want to leave your troops in there instead of walking back through, let's say, possibly enemy territory, you can leave them in there. So for example, one thing that happened was we were building a flag, I think just around enemy territory. So we had this territory here and we were down here, but we were also fighting up here. So it was a very active enemy territory right here. And my troops finished in the flag and they walked through enemy territory and got destroyed. So really, really good thing if you can actually toggle it so they just stay in the flag. And I think that's amazing. Once again, very similar to the hold position command. It's going to be very good for players not risking losing their troops in very small ways that are basically based on the game controls. Also, another small thing, they made it so that when dispatching troops to build an alliance flag, alliance resource points within the range of the alliance flag will be highlighted. Not sure what that's going to change, but I guess that's a thing now. And then they added a feature to troop markers. When selecting or targeting a troop with a troop marker, the troop marker will flash. So that means if you click the troop with the troop marker, you'll basically be able to see that you are clicking that troop. And then when viewing the city of a fellow alliance member, you can tap the alliance name on the governor's profile panel to jump to the governor's alliance member page. I think you could already do that. Am I wrong? Unless they're saying like you can click this and it takes you straight to the alliance page instead of having to do this. Very small change there, but that is quite interesting. Now, the final change, which I accidentally skipped over before, and thank God it's coming, is they completely readjusted the Golden Kingdom. I hope it's a little bit more interesting, but here's what they said. First of all, they adjusted the structure of blessings. Blessings were basically the buff that you got. They added 22 new core blessings categorized as normal attack, AoE skill, and single target skill blessings. They added 14 new universal blessings, which probably are just stats, and they deleted 11 existing blessings. So hopefully that doesn't make the event much harder, because I'd rather spend less time in Golden Kingdom than I have to spend already. Then they adjusted the strength of some existing blessings, so possibly adding more or less stats. I would presume more, as commanders do get stronger, and the stronger commanders are used in this event. And then they increased the probability of healer huts appearing and enhanced healing effects. That's something that's definitely going to make it a lot easier. I always find that I'm on a floor and I'm like low on troops, and on the next floor there's no healing hut, or there's no healing hut for like 3 floors. So hopefully we get at least like 1 healing hut per floor, and they heal up to like 20-25%. That'd be pretty good. And they add an option on the healer hut that allows you to draw an additional blessing instead of receiving healing. That is also nice, especially when you get maybe 2 healing huts on a floor and sometimes they're just not useful because you already have max troops. That's certainly possible, and that's definitely a nice addition. Add an option to Altars of Kurak, which are basically where you could revive troops that allow you to heal troops instead of reviving a defeated troop. The fifth change was they added post-battle stats. That's kind of useless. You can basically check the combat attributes of your troops as well as the number of times certain blessings were triggered and their effects. And they added a chat system. You can now chat with players in the Golden Kingdom event. Don't know why anyone would ever need to do that. I don't want to talk to any players in Golden Kingdom because I feel like that's going to be like Lost Kingdom chat. Anyways, those are really the only changes with the Golden Kingdom event. And I mean, it sounds a little bit more interesting, but still sounds like it's going to be the same old Sunset Canyon for 45 minutes kind of deal. Now, overall, these changes look really good. I'm very interested to see what the Greek civilization brings. I'm interested in the commanders that are coming and that we'll be able to access them pretty much day one. I'm also extremely interested in the new KVK, and the armament changes look really good. Plus, some of these quality of life changes look amazing for most players as well. I know I'm going to enjoy them a lot when I'm fighting. Now, for all you Americans out there, I'd also like to wish you guys a nice happy 4th of July. I know this is like your Australia Day for America, so I think it's Independence Day. Happy Independence Day to all of you. And also, I have one more request for everyone to watch this video. Consider joining the Archer Syndicate Discord, which will be in the pinned comment and in the description. There you can talk with me about the update, ask me any questions you want. It's a great place to chill out, hang out with fellow channel viewers, and it's really just a cool place. Now, I just want to say thank you for watching, and I hope to see you in the next one.